Alright, are you guys ready for me to stumble over everything I fucking say here? Deep breaths, deep breaths. This one is kind of long. It's 2,000 words, it's not that long. Plus, think of the fact that a prince in that world is the princess from ours. Super sheltered, never having the chance for a true friendship. Now he's got a brother that he's going to cling to as much as often as possible. Yeah. Exactly, Sean. Great, like, presentation of how the world is. Like, the perspective of it through the character's eyes. Seeing the world through the character's eyes, or them presenting themselves through the character itself. The way that they see the world, expect the world. And then their character changes based upon other character interactions that tell them more about the world. So is he going to, like, groom this guy into being an actual dude, Sean? Or is he just going to let him be the flamboyant little bitch that he is, like me? I mean, what? There's an army of naifs who still believe adaptation is an act of servitude, a docile tracing of the original into another medium. Poor creatures. They think the filmmaker is a copyist, a translator, a scribe, the magician, a stenographer of literature. They understand nothing, neither of art nor of language. They don't know that every act of translating, adopting, versioning, or dubbing is already an authorial recreation, a necessary transfiguration. And when it isn't, when it tries to be a faithful mirror, it becomes a corpse. Dead images that say nothing. The proof lies in literary translations. No serious reader believes that reading Shakespeare in Spanish is reading Shakespeare true and uncontaminated. It's reading Shakespeare through the astronomarin with his ornate Spanish, or through Mendez y Pelio with his plainer Spanish, or perhaps in some Mexican pocket edition that flattens the hexameters into doggerels. Which one is better? It depends on taste, on ear, on era. With In Search of Lost Time, there are so many Spanish translations that reading Proust in one edition or another is in fact reading Proust through translator X or Y. The unique version does not exist because translation is already style, decision, sacrifice, and gain. Some phenomena appears with Kant, Lao Tzu, Dostoevsky, Dante, Gustav Sobolet's, Tao Te Ching in his edition with commentary, carries his unmistakable voice. It is not the true Lao Tzu, but Lao Tzu filtered through Soblet. So why, when it comes to a film or anime, comics, or even video games, do we suddenly see the mob of crybabies writhing on the floor screaming, "My waifus! My waifus!" as if a limb had been amputated, just because an adaptation didn't replicate frame by frame what they saw on the page or the original screen? Problem is that they confuse artistic media with mere supports. Cinema doesn't need to describe a sunset over 10 pages because 3 seconds of film suffice. The novel can plunge into the flow of consciousness, into the murmur of a character's interior life, something that usually looks clumsy when forced into cinema. Comics build silences between panels, a visual rhythm the reader fills with imagination, while music or dance operate directly on the body without words. Does anyone truly believe such things can be transferred with precision as if they were photocopies? Take examples that dismantle any purism. Blade Runner is not Philip K. Dick's novel, and yet it surpasses it in cultural iconography. The neon rain, the skyscrapers, the futuristic urban texture borrowed from Mobius and Obanon's The Long Tomorrow. Elements that were mere descriptions in the novel became, in the film, an autonomous visual universe, so potent that many forget the original text even exists. It is cinema saying, I cannot copy the novel word for word, but I can capture its spirit and amplify it with my own resources. Kubrick filmed The Shining and Stephen King didn't like it. Better, he didn't have to. The result was not his Shining, but Kubrick's. Endless hallways, obsessive shots, silence that hurts. The film is unrepentive because it uses the grammar of cinema to create something prose never could. Horror that lives in the skin, not just in the imagination. Katsuhiro Otomo Akira's film, in comparison, a monumental manga, amazing film, never seen the manga, but it created titanic cinematic work with a visual tempo impossible to achieve in reading. Animation is not illustration in motion, it is its own language where rhythm, music, color, and movement generate sensations the printed page cannot contain. The same occurs when music becomes interpreter of poetry. Pessoa wrote Autosycophrophia, but Tom Jobim turned it into the melody musica Pessoa, and Antonio Nebrego gave it another turn with Opiata Fingadora. Both are correct because it is not about tracing, but about finding the poem's pulse in another sonic tongue. Likewise, Juan de Encina's Hoy Commandos y Bebamos can be read in a cancionero musical de Palacio or heard in Dorji Saval's voice and Viola da Gamba in Faria Faragi's interpretation, or in the choirs of Antius Ensemble and the Hilliard Ensemble. True, Callie, which is the true version, none and all. The written text is seed, each musical performance is a tree with different trunks and branches, nourished by the same root. The same is true of Carmina Burana, a medieval codex that can sound rough and rustic in the hands of Clement Keek consort, refined with Laverdy ethereal with Anonymous 4, or spectacular with New London consort. None betrays the work, all make it live in the medium proper to it, the human voice and instruments. Victor Hugo's Les Miserables reincarnated as musical and then as film. Music turns lament and epic into immediate emotion, dance into bodily gesture, and synthesizes conflict and hope. Cinema into image that gathers character, space, and time in a single sensory blow. Which is the true work? Cynical answer, all of them. The idiotic answer, one that looks most like my memory. Very true. But adaptation is not limited to literature and cinema. Think of music. Mussorgsky turns Hartmann's pictures at an exhibition into notes, chords, and silences. Prokofiev transforms the tragedy of Romeo and Juliet into ballet. Schubert and Schumann take poems of Goethe and Heine and turn them into Lieder, where voice and piano make the words breathe anew. Here, transposition doesn't copy, it translates emotion to another medium, and the result can be even more powerful than the original. Or will anyone claim that Mahler's Kindertoten Lieder are inferior to Ruckert's poems? I wish I knew even one of these things, Raymond. You're way too smart for me, bro. I don't know anything about literature. I'm like, oh, Shakespeare. Okay, I know that one. I'm more of a science person when it comes to literature than I am, like, literary literature. It's like essay format, you know, references and stuff like that. I know this one! I'm smart! SMRT! Best 5-letter word in the world. SMRT! 5 letters. Hell yeah. Same happens when Shakespeare, already universal, becomes prism for other languages. West Side Story moved the monologue. Capulet feud into New York gangs with jazz and mambo. Cinema makes it musical, and then the musical returns to cinema. Even further goes Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, 1996. It preserves the bard's verses word for word, but places the action in the kitsch chaos of golden pistols, convertibles, and police helicopters. The result is a postmodern work where Shakespeare's language comes out of Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes, and yet the tragedy works, because what mattered was never the Renaissance costumes, but the collision of desire, family, and fate. Whoever clings to fidelity misses the point. Romeo and Juliet remains recognizable. Even painting can adapt into another language. Mussorgsky's suite is proof of how static canvas can voice the movement and sound. Literature, through ekphrasis, translates the visual into word, as Keats did an ode to a Grecian urn. Each leap of medium transforms the work into something else. Not worse, not better, but different, with autonomous power. Thus, every adaptation, whether from novel to film, comic to anime, ballet to opera, painting to music, demonstrates that art lives by reinvention, and that demanding literal traces only betrays ignorance. Absolute fidelity does not exist, only fidelity to the possibilities of the chosen medium. Each version of it has its own right to exist, its own language, its own effect on the one who experiences it. And when we turn to video games, the issue is even more scandalous. Interactivity cannot be translated into cinema. Silent Hill on film will never replicate the dread of wandering lost in the fog with clumsy controls. Cinema is not made for the spectacle to fail. The Witcher was a modest literary saga until the video game catapulted it into a global myth. Shall we say the game is unfaithful? No, it was expansive. And the anime Edgerunners of Cyberpunk 2077 is, in many ways, more accomplished than the game that spawned it. Adaptation, far from being a mirror, can be a broken mirror, a kaleidoscope, a fire that illuminates what the original never imagined. And think of dubbing. Isn't Dragon Ball Z in Latin American Spanish iconic, with Goku shouting Kamehameha in Mario Castanada's voice, or Bello de Crack as Catalan? They are deviations, yes, but precisely those deviations mark popular culture. No one in Latin America heard Goku in Japanese before the 1990s. What we know as original was already mediated by a translator, an adapter, a voice actor. Yeah, like I didn't know what Goku's original voice was in Japanese until I was like 14 or 15. And by that point, I'd already finished the Boo Saga in English. And then I've pretty much never, since like high school, I've never watched anime in English since like watching it on TV. Once I had access to the internet and I could just like watch anime in Japanese with subs, because I took Japanese in high school, so I have like a basic understanding of Japanese. Although it's been 20 years, so I don't remember much. I still have my books, though. The drama, then, is that many approach aesthetics like someone who looks at a still life painting and says, I like it because it makes me hungry. They do not differentiate erotica from porn, metaphor from literalness, style from copy. If you point at something on the screen, they stare at the finger like dogs. They lack the most elementary understanding. Adaptation is always creation from another artistic language, never a servile tracing. There lies Jodorowsky's lesson, as clear as a slap. When he tried to adapt Dune, he didn't say, I will make Frank Herbert's Dune, but the opposite. I wasn't going to make Frank Herbert's Dune, I was going to make Jodorowsky's Dune. And declares later, when Taika Waititi announced he would film the Inkle, that monumental work of Jodorowsky and Mobius, the old shaman didn't cling with ego to his creature. He didn't scream, but it must be faithful. Hey, I come in to say they do not differentiate... To you say they do not differentiate erotica from corn. You're allowed to say porn, Muffin. It's only TikTok that really does that. What the fuck you mean this is from Japan? Is not from my country? Yeah, I think that was a lot of big things from, like, Spanish, too. Like, if you look at the Spanish following of Dragon Ball, the Spanish following of Dragon Ball, take all the other followings of every other nation in the world, put them together, and they're not even a tenth the size of the Spanish audience for Dragon Ball. It's fucking insane. Okay, Dragon Ball in Spanish culture is like fucking StarCraft in Korean culture. It's like an actual religion. Yeah. It's so crazily ingrained into the culture. And that's what makes it so amazing. Is that it's so universal in that way, right? A character like Goku, it's the ultimate manliness. And then you have, like, all the others. You have, like, Vegeta, right? It is just me, or has it been minutes since I've seen Raymond? Actually, Raymond's been coming around a lot lately. But yeah, you know, he has his gaps. He comes in for a week or so, and then he disappears. Seeing graffitis of Goku with Jesus hugging over here. That's amazing, Raymond. That's fucking amazing. Oh my god, I love it. It must preserve every line, every scene. What he said was even more sincere. He won't make Jodorowsky's Inkle, he'll make Waitiki's Inkle. In other words, he recognized that fidelity to a work is not servile replication of its original form, but letting it live in a different medium. Another aesthetic tongue, another creative spirit. I'm lightheaded. I usually try to be here, at least lurk. Uma Musume Graffiti, trust. I could only imagine what that would look like. And what do the fans who wail over every adaptation do? Exactly the opposite. It would look like art. I'm just imagining Gold Ship doing something stupid. I just meant very specifically something about Gold Ship. If it's related to Uma Musume. It's for the fans only. True. And what do the fans who wail over every adaptation do? Exactly the opposite. They confuse artistic translation with photocopy, transformation, with tracing. For them, if Urusei Tatsura doesn't show the same panty shots in the manga, or if Bocchi the Rock refuses to sexualize its teenagers, it's censorship. They confuse difference with mutilation, style with betrayal. For these people, the real heresy would be an adaptation that dares to think for itself. Drink water. I'm gonna go play. I'm behind. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Muffin. I'm drinking Gatorade. That's good, Muffin, because apparently, yeah, you said you were in the hospital for dehydration. Make sure you keep track of that shit. Don't wind up like Muffin, Callie. Make sure you get your electrolytes. Don't drink coffee, bro. It's bad for you. Alright, we'll see you in the next one, Muffin. Take care, brother. Are you streaming, Muffin? Are you streaming, brother? I got my milk here. That keeps my throat cleansed. Raymond, I'm not telling you the story. Ask Scotty. No, I'm not. Maybe. Muffin wasn't having a good time and got way too dehydrated. Thank God, you know, he's from Australia, so he understands the heat. He knows the heat. But isn't it like the beginning of spring over there? So it's like the opposite of us? You guys are entering almost into winter? Or into summer? I don't know which season it is. Very true. Very true, Muffin. I never know either. It's supposed to be winter because Alberta has 2 seasons, winter and fall. But yeah. There's 2 seasons here, wet and dry. That used to be BC. Now it's like, it's snow or dry. Going to wet. Moving into the wet season. They do not understand. Australia is like anti-Canada if you think of it. Well, anti-BC. Because Alberta is very dry and plains and deserty. Thought it was just winter, or not quite winter. Well, it's like 10 months of snow, 2 months of not snow. Right? Although we've had very mild winters the last 2 years. We are just upside down, and Canada is upside down in politics. Very true, Muffin. Canada's fucked in the politics. I wish I could just delete Canadian politics, man. Shit's fucked up here. I think America's bad. It's pretty fucked here in Canada. I just try to ignore it. Not important to me. I'm like, hands! I'm out, man. I pay my taxes. That's it. Mad Max, but in Canada, all the cars get stuck in the snow. Yeah, so true, Raymond. So true. Oh my god, Ontario is so bad. And because Ontario has hills. Alberta's flat. Like, you can go a mile in any direction, and you'll get, like, maybe 2 feet in elevation. In the entire direction. In miles and miles and miles. BC is all hills, and Ontario and Manitoba are like rolling hills, just ups and downs. Closest I've gotten to snow is the coke dust in the ice skating rink. Sounds about right, Muffin. They do not understand, do not want to understand, that every adaptation necessarily implies both loss and gain. Just as when one translates a poem, nothing comes across intact, but another resonance opens, another music. What these myopic devotees demand is literalness, but not the literalness of the work, rather the literalness of the libidinal fantasies. And here Jodorowsky's lesson becomes crucial. Every authentic adaptation must be an act of creative appropriation, a new birth, not servitude to a pre-existing mold. The Dune he never filmed would never have been Herbert's, but a Dune transfigured by the delirious mind of a poet-sorcerer, the Inkle Waititi might make, if it has value, will not be a photocopy of the comic, but the cinematic mutation that there lies the paradox. They do not understand, they do not want to understand. Bitch, I don't understand what the fuck. It's because it's translated. If the sentence structure and words are missing, it's because it's translated from, I believe, Spanish. Right, Raymond? It's Spanish? I want to say it's Spanish. What fans demand, servile obedience, is precisely what kills art. What turns adaptation into taxidermy. The living artist, by contrast, understands that every medium has its own breathing, its own music, its own flesh, and that true fidelity lies not in cloning, but in reinventing. So, next time someone falls to their knees, sobbing because their manga wasn't adapted frame by frame, think again of Urusei Yatsura, Rumiko Takahashi's classic, or something more recent like Bocce the Rock. As soon as an adaptation appears, an enraged mob rises up screaming, "They censored it! They didn't make the breasts big enough!" As if the measure of art lay in the diameter of a drawn bust, or in the amount of cloth covering a character. They think erotica is breast geometry. That adaptation must obey their impulses as if they were clients of a visual brothel. And will they throw tantrums over that? They don't even blink at real censorship, the kind that crushes artists and condemns them to silence or ruin. Just because the case of Shichiro Fukazawa, author of Furu Mutin, 1959, a satirical tale fantasizing about the beheading of Emperor Hirohito and his family. Imperial Japanese censorship was ruthless. Not only was the work withdrawn, but a right-wing fanatic invaded the home of the editor of Chuo Koran magazine and brutally murdered the editor's maid, wounding his wife. Bust. Wait. Quadruple G. That is the largest bust. That is the largest bust possible. Buster tits. Damn, we all have massive tits except for Callie. Callie's got these tiny little tits. But yeah, that's the largest tits you can get, Muffin. Haven't you got triple or quadruple G's before, Muffin? Like, those must weigh more than your entire body. And you get maximum length? Are you hacking? Are you fucking hacking, Muffin? This is crazy. What's your writing talent? Okay, 75%. What's my power level? 63,900. Beat that, motherfucker. I got my little itty-bitty clitty here. Nice, Callie. 104%. Fuck yeah. Damn, Muffin. 62,407. That's close to mine. Raymond, I'm sorry. You used it all, Raymond. That just means you used it all, right? You just need to recharge. You used it all in this magnificent work. Callie's Krillin. Callie's Krillin. Alright, Raymond, your turn. What's your power level? Fukuzawa was destroyed, ruined, turned into a pariah. That is the real face of censorship. Violence bearing down. I'm just a famous author! 31,000. Okay, that's not too bad. You're not a Krillin. You're like a Piccolo. Raymond, you're like a Piccolo. Anyway, 2 max sizes are good enough. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Muffin. Enjoy. Enjoy your hunting. Hopefully you get a personal best. I'm back! Whose story is this? This is Raymond Dow's story. Hell yeah, Piccolo's my favorite. Oh yeah, hell yeah, Raymond, that's epic. This is Raymond's essay, essentially. But get out of here with your ads! I swear to God, I'll poke you! I will poke you! Get out of here! No one wants this! Dragon Ball Z fanfic? No, it's an essay about changing mediums and how adapting to a different medium means sacrificing and almost reinventing the creation to a point where nowadays people say if it's not like a 100% recreation, it's not viable, even though like most recreations are adaptations and not meant to represent the true original. I also talked about Dragon Ball Z though. It is true, Raymond, you did. Die ads! Shake those motherfuckers. Guys, it may just be a nail file, but it is fucking the power behind it that matters, not the sharpness of the knife that you stab with. Tell that to the ads. Classic self-defense. The ads came at me, guys. They were rushing me. Okay? They had like a crazy look in their eye, and I was scared for my life, so I pulled out the only thing I had, which was a nail file, and I drove it into their eyeballs. It was the only way to stop them. Because then they couldn't see me, so I ran away. It's just one of those things. You can't help it. The ads walked into my property. What are you, a cop? I mean, I'm the cop when it comes to ads. At least I want to be. I'm a you know what? Fuck it. I'm Batman when it comes to ads. You might be American after all. Someone once rushed up to me and called me her property after gushing over my voice. I don't know what to do. Callie, it's because your voice is amazing. Afraid for your life from ads. You do well as a cop here. Shoots the ads on the dick like RoboCop. Oh my god. Violence bearing down on a creator for daring to touch a sacred symbol. But of course, the globalized otaku crybabies don't get that. They think censorship is when their drawn heroine's cleavage is reduced in the TV version, when her ass is blurred, or when a mandatory panty shot is missing. They are horny donkeys incapable of distinguishing porn from art, incapable of seeing that what they call censorship is merely an aesthetic or format. Oh shit, Cool Depot!
Why are you smoking?
Cool Depot subscribe to the channel.
Thank
Less than greater than, greater than,
Thank
greater
you.
than, less than, greater than.
Where did
less
that
than,
come
greater.
from? A subscription? From said who? Where? I don't know what that came from, guys. I think that might have been on Rumble? Because it didn't say anything in the chat for anyone subscribing. Well, whoever that was, Cool Depot, thank you so much for the subscription, brother. Really appreciate it, man. Hope you're having a great time. Hope you're enjoying the stream. We're trying to have a good time. You're Jesus now. Should I be narrator? Fish, I'm giving you the wheel. It talks. Fish isn't answering. Help. Callie. Talk. Should I switch from writing to narrating? Callie, do you want to read the next story? Do you want to come on Discord and read the next story, Callie? Show everyone your amazing, beautiful narrating skills? No? Aw. Why not? Okay, it's a 600-word story. How about that, Callie? It's a 600-word story. Will you be able to do a 600-word story? It's super short. Want a woman with a big booty. And huge breasts. He's trying to keep his piccolo like he's Dende. Who's tall, like Megan the Stallion. Oh, I mean, I need myself a mommy and dommy too, Callie. I don't need the huge ass and huge breasts, I just need her to be tall and willing to step on me. I mean, what? It's merely aesthetic or format decision. Anime is not manga. Live action is not anime, and no adaptation is obliged to show them breasts in close-up. Why did I see a light? Because I'm coming for you, Callie. I need you to come on here and witness your voice to all these wonderful people. In fact, they themselves are the ones who censor real artists, dictating what can and cannot be produced, with their docile wallets handed over to the big corporations. But I'm schizophrenic! That makes it even better, Callie. Then you can put on a show for us. I mean, what? Not in a bad way. I swear I'm not taking advantage of you, Callie. I'm not at all. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I mean, what? They worship Nintendo as an infallible god, devour every crumb from Marvel, Pixar, or Shonen Jump as if it were manna from heaven, and believe having a poster of their waifu makes them misunderstood rebels. Using my mental thing or whatever is a showman words. As a showman, words are hard. I get it, Callie. It's okay. I believe in you, though. It's okay if you don't want to, man. I just want to pressure you into doing it. To make you stronger. You manipulator. How else am I supposed to read it? Wait, what? You're using my mental thing or whatever as a showman. As a show. Oh, why would you put... Man, words are hard. As a showman. I see what you did there. I see what they did there. Just make him your dead man. Oh, absolutely. With nothing but this blood in your veins. What? I'm confused. Seed... Seeds grow plants. Plants can make fruit. Fruit is good. There's a plant on the screen. Gundam? Tox is on the screen. I'm a plant. I'm AI, remember, though. Remember, guys, I'm AI. In truth, they are dogs domesticated by the market. They tear their clothes over bouncing breasts on screen, but stay silent at the bloody story of a Fukuzawa destroyed by imperial power, or of the countless writers, musicians, filmmakers, and artists whose works were truly banned, mutilated, persecuted, and is trying to grow in our brains by broadcasting to us pie is delicious. One of the reasons I don't want AI to take over jobs for artists and story writers because they represent human creativity. AI can be used as a teacher or a tool to help you. See, but that's the thing. Like I said, Ninja, this is the way that I say it. Do people still paint despite the fact that you can use digital art? The answer is yes. Do people still draw despite the fact that you can use photography? And the answer is yes. Will people still use their own creativity when AI is sophisticated enough to create its own stuff? The answer is yes. So if you take any historical, like, accountants of what... Wait, Callie, hold on. Did you just say, what's Gundam? Did you just say that, Callie? I know it's the robot thing. Okay. I'm here to sow chaos. Okay. I'm like, what the fuck you've never... Go right now, Callie, and watch Gundam Wing. One of the best Gundam series. Fucking amazing. But yeah, I still think if you use historical evidence of new mediums evolving, old mediums are always still used, even with new mediums. Does that make sense, Ninja? So I would say even if AI gets advanced as like being able to instantly create stories, and even to the point of reading your own mind to create it, there will be people out there that don't use it and use their own creativity because that's just how humans are. So I think it's the wrong attitude to have to say that it shouldn't be in a creative space. But that's just me, and that's coming at it from an analytical point of view, but there is always the point that there could be, you know, a point where human creativity does get persecuted to a point where people don't think of it as a high value. But that doesn't mean people won't still do it, even if it doesn't necessarily give as high of a value to existence. I should make that a command, Callie. Okay, here's a contest, guys. Do you want to be eternally lived in the stream? Write 2 sentences or 3 sentences, because we have this command that goes here, and it goes, taking a valiant stride of purpose and valor, such a person announces their presence with a commanding call of imposing will. So kind of think about something like that, but for like vanishing. So I'm going to do something that's like, this is going to be my input.
A slink into the shadows falls with unaware tones treading the invisible tendrils of light vanishing into the night.
So if anyone got anything better than that, I'm going to make a new command that is vanish. And it will be something along those lines. If you want to critique that, feel free. And thus the outcome is inevitable. The complaint of these fans is not a defense of creative freedom, but pure onanism disguised as aesthetic indignation. All they want is for the work to adapt to their erection. Meanwhile, the real artists, the ones who have lost jobs, reputations, lives, remain in silence. Art crushed, thought sealed shut, and they happy buying the latest amiibo. Sounds about right, except now it's Labubu's. All about Labubu's. Can't get over them Labubu's.